I'm so excited to be talking to Adriana O'Donnell today. She is a teacher with Fundraising Academy, but she is so much more than that. Girl, your resume is amazing. I can't believe all the incredible organizations you've had a chance to work with. Give us your background. How did you get to where you are today, and what do you love about working with nonprofits?
Of course. Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction. So happy to be here with a Good to Create podcast. Um, my the start to my career is very similar to a lot of my colleagues. Where we kind of fell into philanthropy. My undergrad is in international business. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get an import exports and I'm going to travel South America and utilize, my bilingual skills. But what actually happened was I applied for a job at an international nonprofit in Rhode Island. I grew up on the East Coast and I fell in love. I fell in love with a mission of being able to make a community better, to contribute directly to it through philanthropy. And I didn't even know that was a career track 20 years ago. And so here I am today. I've had the good fortune of working for really incredible nonprofits from the East Coast. Child Reach was the name of my first organization. Now it's called Plan International. I started in donor relations, then went into marketing and fundraising specifically. So fundraising nationally and internationally. And then I moved over to Hawaii. Not too shabby. And
No, no.
and I had the great fortune of working for a federally qualified health center there called Waikiki Health, really helping develop their fundraising department and raising about 10% of their operations budget. So that was really wonderful in Hawaii. Of course, I can't complain, and the culture is just so rich
I was
and
going to say, what would pull you away from Hawaii and working for a cool mission?
well, love does that to you. My husband's job took us to Hawaii, and then it brought us to San Diego, which is where I am right now. And I can't complain. I just feel like um, Hawaii really helped build my fundraising skill set and being able to really work with a diverse group of people. And in that setting, it was about access to healthcare and social services for the most under-resourced population on Oahu. So I did that for a bit. Of course, my mission is their mission. What I feel in my bones is I really want to contribute to a world where having access to quality healthcare and choice is for everyone. And it's,
Amen.
so that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. And I love every minute of it. So now fast forward to San Isidro Health, also a federally qualified health center. And I started working here a month before the pandemic hit. And it was definitely different, to say the least. I knew I'm very comfortable with fundraising, have been doing it for a long time, but to do it at a time where, we can't meet face to face, where we're kind of just, living in our own bubble, that was very difficult. But boy, did we get creative and flexible and pivoted. And I feel like that has contributed to our profession being more accessible too.
Sure, more
Um,
agile. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you have to be, right? San Isidro Health, again, federally qualified health center, similar to Hawaii, but the difference is that we are at the border and provide services throughout San Diego County, providing healthcare to 109,000 patients throughout the county. But where it really translates for me, if I may share a
Yeah.
personal story. So I am originally from Colombia, South America. I immigrated to the United States when I was 4 with my parents and my brother. And, at most points in my life, I was always the only Colombian girl, woman in that setting. So when I got to San Isidro Health, I was walking down the hallways right here in the corporate office, and everyone said my name as my parents intended it to be said. And that was so profound to me. Like I actually got emotional, and I never knew that that was going to be so important to me. So my name is Adriana with a rolled R. And it was beautiful, and it just felt like I was at the right place at the right time, fundraising for the right mission. And that's what translates when I talk about it.
I love that. I have to give you a sincere apology because I've never been able to roll my R's ever. Um, I'm one of those people that even when music is playing, I can't clap in rhythm with anything. And I think there's something to that. Like I'm not gifted, at least not in that area. But wow, that story, that's beautiful. I love that. And I get it with the name thing. I think that is something all of us fundamentally feel. We want to be seen and known for who we really are. I love that. That is a wonderful story.
Thank
I
you.
get the feeling that story and your experience probably has equipped you to be exceptional when it comes to donor relations because ultimately donor relations is relationship and it's about seeing people. Am I right on that? Has that especially equipped you for this?
I think so. I feel like it is definitely a relationship, and in most cases, authentic friendships.
Yeah.
You learn about each other. You listen. I think that may be the key to having successful donor relations is to really listen
Hmm.
and to remember. Uh, I do want them to know that I remember the story that they told me about their child getting into college or whatever have you. That's important to them, and it should be important to you too. In stewarding them if they're already a donor, or in cultivating them if they're considering your organization. I think that you have to remember that there's so many amazing organizations out there that they could contribute to. So really defining why it's important to contribute to your organization and doing it in a way that's authentic um,
Hmm.
and transparent really goes a long way. So listening, making sure that you are true to yourself and your mission really translates.
So I have to ask a question about listing because I was talking to somebody recently and they were prepping for a donor meeting and man I could empathize with their stress. And they were hardcore preparing. They were going through all their data. They wanted to anticipate every question. Do you think part of the reason that when we get into donor meetings or when we're actively fundraising for our organizations, we don't listen because we're overproduced, we're overprepared, we're over presenting. Do you think that's part of it?
I think in some cases, yes. I had a mentor tell me that she never goes into a donor meeting with a proposal already put together.
Yeah.
She goes into that meeting to listen, to understand, to see it from the donor's perspective. And then you follow up with, all of the information that you were able to gather to establish, what that donor cares about and what they would consider contributing to in your particular organization. So I think that was such great advice that I really took to heart because ultimately you're dealing with people.
Yeah.
It's not, and with individual donors specifically, it's not produced, it's not corporate setting where they're, checking off, you know, whatever the checklist is for that particular corporation. It's people, it's feelings, and you really are, selling your organization's mission.
Hmm.
And that's hard to do because it's not a product and it's not a service. So being able to, again, just speak to it and do it in a way that resonates after listening is is golden.
Well, that should provide a lot of relief for fundraisers. I mean, it is, it's relationship first. So, speaking of relationships, I've heard this saying that donors are lost the same way friendships are, by calling too often or calling too seldom. And I know I've struggled with that in the past. You want to maintain the relationship, but you don't want them to be like, "Oh man, it's her again." How do you balance that? How do you feel out what's appropriate?
That's such a good question. And I think a lot of us struggle with that, even within our own friendships, right? Because life happens
Yeah.
and we're all busy and we're all affected right now by very similar things, COVID-19, social injustice in the world, the war. I mean, there's just so many things happening, and we're still communicating in this way.
Mhm.
Zoom, phone calls. There's not that traditional, let's go grab coffee, or
Yeah.
at least we're just getting to that right now, or lunch, or whatever it may be. So I feel like it's a balance, and it goes back to listening. What's happening with them right now, and asking them straightforward. What do you prefer? Do you prefer me to text you? Do you prefer me to call you? Do you prefer me to make a Zoom meeting with you? And they'll let you know for sure. But like I said, it's a balance, and sometimes you'll get it right, and sometimes you won't. But having grace for yourself and having grace for your donor is really important.
And I agree with what you said. Ask. Like if someone asks me, I have this all the time with partners and stuff. Like I'm horrible on the phone. I hardly ever talk on the phone. But man, if you shoot me a text or an email, I'm right on it. I'll respond. It's kind of catering to what you know would suit their life the best. I love that. That's great advice. Okay, so if you are watching the live stream, I would encourage you to tune in to the full episode when it comes out on April 1st. This is our April Fool's Day episode, but it's all truth and it's all good. So, Adriana, thank you. We'll take a quick break as we